Template editor. So if you want to open template editor, we can go up to the upper left-hand corner, scroll down to template editor and launch it from here. Or if we go to our home tab, we can launch template editor here. So when we go ahead and launch template editor, we have just a blank, no template selected. If we look over here to the right hand side, it says none. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit this plus sign and select new template. When we do that, we can just add a new template name. And so I'm going to create a template for a 0 to 6 inch dial caliper. And if we had other templates, we could clone this template's layout off of our other one. But since we do not, we're just going to add a brand new template. Once we do that, it brings the name over in the upper right hand corner. It puts it into an awaiting approval status. And then it sets everything up to be edited. So we can come in here and add a manufacturer, we could add a department, a model number, but be thinking about what a template is. And so for those of you who do not know what a template is in IndySoft, it's a way to create a gauge from pre-populated fields to save you time when creating equipment. So if I create a 0 to 6 inch dial caliper, I can pre-populate certain fields so that the next time that I add a new gauge that's a 0 to 6 inch, I can save some time. So we can fill out some of the main fields that we want to. And if they're not a part of your table, you can go ahead and add them to the lists. And then we can come down here, crib number if we want to put any kind of location field. If we wanted to add an image, I would recommend doing that. If we had a specific cert type or cert template that we wanted to attach, and a calibration procedure would be a good idea. I don't have any in my system currently. And then if we go over onto this right-hand side, we can pre-populate other things in our template. We can come into charges and we could add a charge, especially if we're always going to charge the same price. And if we do that, it'll add a charge in there. We can come in, we can add a master. If you're always going to be using the same master to calibrate this gauge, you could go ahead and put a master in here. Test points are a great one. Depending if you guys are doing accredited or non-accredited, we could come in here and we could go ahead and put some test points in here. And I'm just going to put some fake information just for content. All right, so we have some fake test points in here. We hit OK. So I filled out some charges, our master that we're going to use the next time we calibrate, some test points. If you want to go ahead and give it a frequency and interval, you could do that. And then let's go ahead and approve this gauge or this template. So we click on this, and then it requires you to sign in with a system administrator's account. You do that and hit OK, and now this has been approved. So first icon is how you create a new template. Second icon is how we can rename that template. Third icon is the delete button. We have blue navigational arrows to take us to the next gauge or next template in sequence. We can synchronize changes with the IndySoft's main screen. We can bookmark the template. We can come over here and email this over to another individual if you want to. And then right here we have something called equipment links. So what that means is when you create gauges with a template, it will actually link the template to those gauges. So if I create 100 gauges with this template, it'll link those to this template. So I would have 100 right here. So the last aspect to creating a template is what fields do we want to pre-populate in the template and physically link to the gauge itself. So whenever I create a gauge, and I'll show you this right now, whenever I create a gauge from this template, so we'll close out of here, go to equipment view, and hit this second icon right here. When we click on this second icon, I have the ability to choose my template. So I can choose that template because it's in an approved status. And then I can come down here and add a new gauge ID and a new serial number. If I had multiple gauges, I could go ahead and say create and repeat. And so I could just create as many as I wanted to. And so I'm just going to create one gauge. And when I hit create, it automatically puts it into my main tracking status, and it fills out some of these fields that we designated. Right? And then if I come down here into our equipment dialogues, I can look at the master that's selected, my templates came over, my schedule came over, and my charges came over. Now the next aspect of template editor is how do we lock down these fields? Because yes, I created all these different things through the template, but there's nothing keeping me from going in here and editing this information. So I could come in here and edit the test points if I accidentally mess something up. It's not linked back to the template. And so you can have a technician just come in here and change all this information, or any individual. So if we go back to our template editor, we have something for this scenario, and it's called template links. So what we can do is when we click on template links, we specify what area of the software do we want to lock down. And what that means is it will house that information on the template, and it won't allow you to change that information on the equipment view. So whenever you're on the actual designated piece of equipment, you will not be able to change this information. So we go up here and I'm checking type, description, and then if we scroll all the way down or a little bit above, we can say test points. So we'll lock test points down and lock masters down. And let's also lock charges down. So if there's any other fields that you guys would like to lock down, feel free to just go ahead and check those. Now, when we hit OK, it'll ask us if we would like to force these new links to be set for all equipment with this same template type. All right, so if you don't want to do that, you can. So we'll hit yes. And now when we close out of the template editor and scroll back up to the top, notice how these fields changed from blue to red. And now when we go down to these different equipment dialogues, it says linked from template. So if I try to click on this, I can't edit it. If I try to click on this, I can't edit it. See here, and charges I lock down. So you can't edit those. Now, if you were going to go ahead and launch the calibration event, you can change that information within the event itself. Let's see here. Like right here, if you wanted to change the masters that are being used on the fly, you can change that. So I can delete this and I can add whatever I want. But just know that the next time that you calibrate this gauge, it will have whatever that was linked to the template. So this can be advantageous if on the fly you wanted to edit your test points, edit your masters, and so on. And so that is how you create a template, how you create a gauge with a template, and how you link fields to that template.